Now let's move on this floating point. Okay. Now this bit pattern, we want to interpret it as an actual decimal number or a real number. Let's use it as an example. Similarly, the first bit is sign bit. A 1 here means it's a negative value. Okay? Now the next 3 bit is SS4 notation. And 0, 1, 1 is equal to what? Is equal to 3. Okay? SS4, so we need to subtract 4 from 3 to get a -1. Now the last 4 bit is Mantissa part. A Mantissa part, initially we should put a radical point on the left of the leftmost bit, which is here. So 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0. And the radical point is here. Now since exponent give me a value of -1, a -1 in fact is make this value smaller. Okay? So this radical point, instead of moving to the right, we moving to the left. Here. So we need to put a 0 here. So this value is actually is what? Radical point here, then 0, 1, 1, 0, 0. And we can forget about this 0. And this 0 weight is 2 minus 1. This one has weight of 2 minus 2. This has weight of 2 minus 3. And this 0 is 1/2, 1/4, 1/8. So 1 times 1/4, 1 times 1/8. So 1/4 plus 1/8 is equal to what? Is A, and this is 2, this is 1. So 3/8. Okay? So, and also don't forget about this one here, the sign bit, minus. So this is, finally we get the value of -3/8. The handout give us the correct answer of this guy. And we also get this value. Now, the next example is we want to code 1 and 1/8. Okay? We want to code this one into a 1 byte floating point. Now, previous example, we translate a floating point representation into a actual number. Now we are going to, in the reverse way, is to translate a real number of 1 and 1/8 into 1 byte floating point representation. Now, we're starting with the first bit. Since this is positive value, so the first bit is 0, since it's a positive value. Now, 1 and 1/8, the thing is to translate into binary. 1 and 1/8 to translate into binary. Okay, is equal to 1 times 20, right? Plus 0 times 2 to the power minus 1. This is in fact 1/2. Plus 0 times 2 to the power of 2. This is in fact is 1/4. And plus 1 times 2 to the power of 3. Right? This is in fact 1/8. Right? So to change this number, this value into base of 2 is equal to what? Change it into base of 2 is equal to 1.001, right? Base 2 representation. Okay? Now, as we said, the radical point should be on the depth of leftmost bit. And in this case, okay, the leftmost bit is this guy, is this one. And the radical point should not be here, should be on its left, not on its right. Okay? So change into mantissa part, it should be 1001, and the radical point is here. How you get this radical point here is make this number, okay, make this number bigger. So the exponent field should have a value of 1. Now, exponent field of value of 1 to translate into bit pattern is SS4 notation. We should plus 1. We should add 4 into 1. So 1 plus 4 is equal to 5. Now, 5. How do you get 3-bit SS4 notation of 5? Is 1, 0, 1, right? So the exponent field is 1, 0, 1. And this is positive number. The sign bit is 0. And the mantissa part is 1, 0, 0, 1. Okay, is this part. So it's 1, 0, 0, 1. Okay? So we get this 1 byte representation of floating number of 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1. Right? 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1. Okay? So we get the correct answer, which is given by the handout, a very old textbook. Okay? So do this handout is very important because we are going to have a quiz next week in the PA section. Okay? Now let's move on. Why SS notation? Okay, because in this floating point, why we use SS notation? Because it's easier to compare to floating point. Okay, we just scanning from the left to the right. Okay, once we can get a different bit value, and then the one with a bigger bit binary value, which will be bigger. Okay, so we don't need to do any computation to do the comparison of two floating value. We just bitwise compare of the bit pattern. Okay, so this is why we use SS notation in floating point. Okay, now I'm going to show you a float, a disadvantage of floating point notation. And this is not everybody's fault. Again, it's the limitation of our memory space. To avoid this kind of error, it's just getting a bigger space. Okay, maybe in the future we will change the standard of the size for floating point. Today, in the previous example, we're using 1 byte. Okay, 1 byte to represent a floating a real number. Okay, but 1 byte is only 8 bits. 1 byte got only 8 bits. 8 bits. Okay, so how many numbers can be represented? Only 2 to the power 8. Only 2, 5, 6 number can be represented by 1 byte. In fact, how many real number? Infinite number of real number. So how we represent all these real number in computer? The answer is impossible. The solution is we can just do approximation. Okay? And if we have a large memory space to represent, to using floating point notation, we have more accurate representation of real number. So let's keep going. Why this kind of error will occur? Run-off error. Why is run-off error? Run-off error is because we're using limited space to store infinite number. Okay, it's inevitable. We will get this kind of error. Let's using a very simple example. Okay, supposedly you want to say 2 and 5/8 or 5/8 using 1 byte floating point system, which we just introduced. 2 and 5/8. So converting into binary system, we will get what? 2 and 5/8, which is equal to 1 times 2 to the power 1 plus 0 times 2 to the power 0, right? This is give us 2. This gives us 0, which take care of this whole value part. Now, plus 5/8, we can split into 2 parts. The first part is 1/2. The second part is 1/8, right? And 1/2 is 1 times 2 power of 1, right? So this guy is 2/2. And plus 0 times 2 to the power minus 2. And this guy is 1/4. And 0 times 1/4 is 0, is nothing, right? And the times 1 times 2 to the power of minus 3. And this is what? 1 times 1/8, which is 1/8, which is this part. Is this part to have, right? Right? Okay? So we split 5/8 into 1/2 plus 1/8. And 1/2 is here, represented by this one. And 1/2 is represented by this one. And 1/8 represented by this one here. So change this 2 and 5/8 into binary system is 10.1, right? This one. And this 0. And this one. Okay? Base 2 system. Now, because vertical point should be on the leftmost bit, should be on the left of leftmost bit. So we move this vertical point 1 and 2 to the correct position. Okay? So, in fact, in order to move 2, okay, we need to have a SS value of 2. We need to have a SS notation that represent 2. Okay? Now, to represent 2, we need, since it's SS4, so we plus 4, we get 6. And how we get 6? To get 6 is 4 plus 2. So is 1 times 2 to the power 2, 1 times 2 to the power 1, and 0 times 2 to the power 0. Okay, so the 3-bit SS4 notation is 1, 1, 0 here, 1, 1, 0. Now, this is a positive value, so the sign bit is 0. So the sign bit is 0. And the exponent field is 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0. Now, the mantissa part is coming from this part, coming from this part. And the mantissa field in this 1 byte notation, we only give him 4 bits. But right now we have a 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. So we have a 5-bit here. So how we deal with this situation with this impact? We have to cut down 5-bit to 4-bit. So we have to sacrifice the least significant bit, which is this one. We have to truncate in order to have a 4-bit mantissa part. So this 4-bit is 1, 0, 1, 0. Now, we have this guy, this bit pattern, say in the computer system, say in the memory, to represent which value, 2 and 5/8. So what we get is correct, right? To compare this I type in based on the handout is 0110, 0110, and then 1010, 1010. What we derive is correct, but we have to truncate the last one, which is the last one here. And then we get this bit pattern. Okay, this binary bit pattern. Now, we have a problem. The problem is what? The problem is this bit pattern, in fact, represent 2.5, not 2.5. These two guys has an error of 1/8, right? We can see from previous example. I think we do 2.1 before, right? No, we don't have 2.5 before. But you translate this bit pattern using 1 byte floating point, you will get 2.1. But in fact, initially we want to say 2.5. But after you say into computer system, and later you get this memory out of the computer, get this value out of the memory, and then interpret it, you will get 2.5. And this kind of error, the error is 1/8. We call this kind of error as a wrong-off error because we don't have a sufficient memory to accurately store the value we want to store. We round it off, we truncate it, 1/8. Okay? Now, today's computer. Here we're using an example of 1 byte 8-bit to demonstrate how floating point is handled in the computer. But in fact, in today's computer, it's very common. We use 32-bit, which is 4 byte, okay, to deal floating number. In some cases, we even double the precision, double the size, which means we are using 84 bits or 8 bytes to deal with so-called floating number, or in terms of mathematics, it's a real number. But even you using the memory so large, so big, there will still be wrong-off error. The error is smaller, so small that we can ignore, or so small that the computation result is acceptable for our application. Okay? So what I'm going to say is that the important to understand this kind of wrong-off error when you're using computer to do the computation. Another source of wrong-off error is that in decimal system, we all know that 1/3, you change it into decimal expression, is that 0.3333333333333. How many 3? Infinite number of 3. It's so-called non-terminating. Okay? Non means not. it will not terminate. Okay? To accurately represent 1/3 in decimal system, you require infinite number of 3 to accurately represent. However, in computer system, is there infinite storage space to say infinite number of 3? Okay? The answer is no. And the makes it even worse is that in computer system, we using binary system. This example, 1/3 is 0.33333 unterminating. This kind of somewhere we have to cut and forget about the rest of the 3. Right? But in binary system, it's much more common to encounter such a non-terminating situation. Take a very simple example. 1/10 to change into a binary system is also non-terminating, which means there's no way you can precisely represent 1/10 in base 2 system. You have to truncate somewhere. Okay? Why? If I do a little math here, but 1/10 is equal to 0 times 1/2, 0 times 1/4, 0 times 1/8, 1 plus 1/16, 1 times 1/32, plus 1/160. Okay? Now, we can rearrange this expression into this one. Now, we take out then 1/10 can change into this expression. Now, what we got is, when we express 1/10, we're using 1/10. Okay? We take 2 to the power of -4 out of each term, we get this expression. Okay? 2 to the power of 4, parenthesis, okay? 1 times 2 to the power of 1 plus 1/10. Okay, because this 2 to the power of -4 is take out. This part take out 2 to the -4, remain 2 to the power of -1. Take out 2 to the -4, remaining 1. Now, 1/10 is equal to 2 to the power of -4, parenthesis, this guy. And this portion, 1/10, can be replaced by what? Can be replaced by this guy again. Okay? Let me rephrase again. Let's forget about this part. Okay? This part is used to derive this expression. So 1/10 is equal to this guy. Now, in this expression, we have another 1/10. Now, we're using this part, this whole part, this whole right-hand side to replace this 1/10. And once you do that, you get another 1/10. You replace it again. Now, in fact, what I just say is saying that 1/10 is expressed in turn out 1 over 10. Okay, it's defined by itself. 1 over 10 is defined by 1 over 10 itself. Okay? Now, in fact, if you do it this way, you can change it into this kind of non-terminating binary number. Okay? This kind of binary number. Let's see what happened here. You can see 1100, and then 1100, and then 1100. Okay? Or we take it another way is 0011, and then you have another 0011, and then you have another 0011, and then you will have another 011. What's happening? The power is off. Why the power is off? Why there's no power? Okay, it's fine. Okay, 0011, and then 0011, and then 0011, and then 0011. Why is non-terminal? Because 1 over 10 is expressed by another 1 over 10. So you keep replacing, and you will change it into this guy. So 0.1 is so common. Okay, even as a number such common, it still cannot be accurate represent, because somewhere in this sequence of number you have to cut it, because memory space is limited. Okay, even you're using 84-bit. Maybe in the future we implement as 128 bits. Still, we cannot deal with this kind of finite sequence of number. Okay, so some solution is using integer. However, when we using integer, still we might encounter an overflow error. So when you're doing your application, you need to understand the difference between integer and a floating value. Okay? You have to consider the pro and the con of using different kind of data type to write your program. Okay? Numerical analysis is a course in the mathematical department. Let's study with how to deal with this kind of runoff error. Okay? So there are certain way to reduce the impact of runoff error. Okay? It's always there, as long as you use computer to do certain type of computation. The error is there. You using integer, you might run into so-called overflow error. You using floating point, you might run into so-called runoff error. It's there. You have to face it. The problem is how you to deal with such error. If you can minimize the negative impact of your job or your program, that will be sufficient. Okay? So that's why I want to spend time to introduce how integer and how floating point is implemented in computer, and spend 2 weeks time on this topic. is tedious, okay? So that's why so many students that. Okay? This is the loss, not my loss, okay? It's something that, okay? Go over here. One small example to illustrate how numerical analysis to deal with a run of error. For example, 2.5 plus 1, 8 plus 1, 8. Now, 2.5 plus 1, 8, you compute first, you put a parenthesis here. What you should get is 2 and 5/8. Now, once you get this 2 and 5/8, in the previous example, 2 to the 5/8, when it save into computer memory, it will save as 2 and 1/2. So 2 and 5/8 become 2 and 1/2. So it kind of truncate 1/8. Now, you do the computation here. You do this two computation, do this addition first. You're supposed to get 2 and 5/8, but say into computer memory, you get 2 and 1/2. And then you add 1/8 again. 2 and 1/2 plus 1/8. You're supposed to get 2 and 5/8. But once you say into computer memory, because of run of error, you will get 2 and 1/2. So if you using 1 byte floating point to do the computation of this two addition, you will get what? 2 and 1/2, which will completely make you nuts. Okay? Incredible. I want to throw away my computer. It's stupid. Alright? But not your computer. My computer, because you're only using 1 byte. Your computer will not have this kind of problem. But it just illustrates that if you add in a small number to a large number, you cannot throw away the small number. Right here. 1/8 is small. 2 and 1/2 is large. You add a small number to a big number, you cannot throw away the small number 1/8 here. Now you do it again to add 1/8, which is small, which will be thrown away again. Okay, the way to deal with this mathematician, okay, I suggest if you have a 3 number to add, you add a 2 small number first. To make it bigger, 2 1/8 add together become 1/4, 1/4. And then using 1/4 to add into 2 and 1/2, then you will get the correct answer of 2 and 3/4. Okay? So this is just a small example of what numerical analysis is doing. But you don't need to understand so many things. Okay? Just write your program correctly. Avoid to add a small number to a large number, which might make the small number missing or being ignored somehow. Okay, so so this is what I just say. Even this general rule, okay, adding small number first, and then the small number become bigger. Okay, make this all this small number getting bigger, then adding to a large number. But even doing this will not guarantee accuracy. Okay, so there's no guarantee. So as an engineer, you should know the dangers here to use computer to do computation. Okay. Now, finally, we finish this part, and we're going to have a quiz next week in TA section. So everybody, my suggestion is you should read this handout. It's all on EE class, okay? And you should do some exercise. Try to convert a binary system to decimal system. We have three kind of numerical system. SS notation, two's complement notation, and a floating point notation. You do not need to do a large size example. Do the small size example. Just repeat the example in this handout, and I think you should do fine. Okay, and it's important for someone learn how to program. Okay, so let's continue. Let's come back to C language. Okay, how much time we got? According to my computer, we only got 5 minutes left, but because we are kind of back, so let's continue. Okay. Okay, let's take a look at chapter 3 of the textbook. Chapter 3 is talking about the format input and output. In fact, we briefly mentioned some of the feature of the formatted input and output previously in chapter 2. But supposedly in chapter 3, we were going into a little more detail about this topic. But since they are so easy, I think everybody should be able to read the textbook, either the Chinese textbook or English textbook, or even this PowerPoint file, which will be given to you after class on EE class platform. So you should read it detailedly, and I try to go over it and very quick because it's not that important. It's not that difficult to understand. So let's move on. Printf is a function. Okay, we see before. And printf is a library function, so you don't need to implement this function. It will give it to you when compiler and link is performed by computer. Then the first parameter in the printf function is a string, and basically this string will be printed on the screen. Okay, will be printed on the screen. Whatever you type whatever you give in this string will be printed on the screen, except something start with percentage signs, and this percentage sign is called conversion specification. Okay, it's a space holder, which means in this position, the computer or printf function will insert a value of an expression or a value of a variable or a value of a constant. So in here, we kind of using a general formation, a general representation. We call it expression one. And expression one will be replaced the first pound sign, and the expression two will be replaced the second pound sign. Okay, and each pound sign represent a place that will print out the value of the expression. Okay, now conversion specification, starting with the percentage sign, and for integer expression, I mean the result of the expression is int. We use percentage d. For floating value, we use percentage f. But now, you guys should feel comfortable about when I'm talking about int, when I'm talking about float, because you guys all know the inside the technique they use to implement integer and to implement float. Okay. Now, printf function. Okay. So here's some simple example. We have a int, which is a keyword in C, represent an integer variable. Okay. So we have two integer variable of I and j. And then we have two floating variable, have x and y. Okay, so in memory space, you will have a location reserved for I and for j. And I is large enough for int type of variable. As I mentioned, the bigger the space, the bigger the memory space, the more accuracy, the larger range the value can be represented. So I put a in parenthesis here because in different compiler, different computer platform, you might get different size. Okay, some may use in 8 byte, some may use in 4 byte, but we don't care. We just care this size is the implementation of your computer that are using for integer variable type. And J is also an integer variable type. Now for X and Y, similarly X is a float, Y is a float. Now X is located, I is located in some memory space, and this memory space is exclusively reserved for I variable. So we are going to have a table. A computer will maintain the table, and this table will say I is located in the memory address of 1000. So the table will look like this. And the J will be in 1008. Okay? So J is located in 1008. And X is located in 1016. So X will be starting at the location of 1016. And Y is in 1024. Okay, so it's 1024. Okay, and this 1000 1008, 1016, 1024, okay, is the so-called address. Okay, we talked about this before. Okay, it's very important that you have the concept of address, a memory address. When you learn C, okay, you want to be a master of C, you should have a concept of address, which is not difficult, it's easy. It's just to label each memory location a unique number, okay? So this is 0, this is 0001, this is 0002, this is 003, okay? And it's a unique name for each memory location, okay? So because integer here, I assume using 8 byte. So starting from 1000, this 8 byte will be used exclusively by I variable. And then starting from 1008, 8 byte will be used exclusively by variable J here. So you should have conceptually, you should have this kind of picture in your mind, okay? They will not overlapping each other. I mean, the 8 byte used by I will not overlap with the 8 byte used by J. Okay? Now, so the example here is very simple. Okay? You assign 10 to I. Okay? So I, conceptually, you put a 10 in this memory location. This equal sign is not the equal in a mathematical term. The equal is, we say, is assignment. What we mean by assignment? It means assign. It means give. Okay? Give the value of 10 to the location of the variable I. So 10 put it here. We give 20 to variable J, so we put 20 here. Okay, similarly, X and Y, we give two floating number here. A small f here, which usually we, I normally omit this part, omit this f. But the f here means this integer, this constant of value is going to be treated or saved in the memory as a floating point. Floating point, okay, floating point number. And the short for floating point number is float, okay, is float in C. So you can define a variable type called here. XY is a variable type of float, okay, and you assign value to X and Y, and then you print it out. Okay, for integer, you using type using conversion of percentage D. For floating point, you using percentage F. Okay, so this I will print in this location. In J will print this location. X will print in the location. Y will print this location. So the sequence of this variable will print according to the pound size sequence. Okay, it will not miss out. So the first variable will not print on the third pound side. Okay, the first variable will print it in first pound side. The second variable, second pound side. Third variable, third pound sign. Fourth variable on fourth pound sign. Extra, okay? And then the screen you see this output. Okay, I guess that's enough for today. Let's continue on next week. Prepare for the quiz next week. Okay?
有事情要宣布一下。
Okay, here we're going to announce a few. We are going to make some
那个
announcement.
点名的好像要多了3个人，我要不要现场？
我们等一下会再点一次哦，就是因为有多3个人。
哦，对，有抽点。
如果被抓到的话，那个人不会加分哦。
会被扣分哦，算是作弊，
直接扣分了。
因为我确认很多次了，是40个。
喂，那我现在直接叫名字，然后马上举手。对，不要带举子哦。曾国勋，然后子成，然后秉玉，然后郑翔，金轩，是什么？瑞红吗？好，不知道。静文，然后俊
很大
元，
一点，
然后
我不晓得，我们要
志涵，
好
孟什么？杜丞相，有，然后
我们要到一定程，
陈
交到一
佑
定程一定的那个程度才会考，通常会比
玉祥，
学期只要18周或16周的中间，再过去几周。
若愚没有。
没有吗？陈若雨、凯瑞